12 Rounds Podcast. Today we have this very special guest, and along with me is Cristobal, but on the other side of the line, we got the master of the plan, Mr. UFC Hall of Fame inductee, Gents Pulver. What's up, nigga?
What up, dog?
How you guys doing? Well,
good,
I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, man, thanks for being part of this, man. This is freaking real cool to have you here because your story aligns with what we got going on here at 12 Rounds and what we try to, signify here about, no matter how hard life tries to get you down, no matter how many rounds you go and you get knocked down, you get back up, bro, and you keep fighting because that's what this life's about, man, is you go all the rounds, you know what I'm saying, and make it to the end and don't stop fighting until you get there, you know what I'm saying?
I love it. That has just been so damn long. Shoot.
I know, dude.
Cristobal got a hold of me. I was like, oh man, I gotta talk to Cristobal. It's been God, man, we was kids.
Yeah,
I can't remember how young this started.
I think we were in our teens.
There was teens out there. 19. I think 19.
19, three-quarter.
Dude,
20. I'm gonna say 20 because
bro, freaking, oh man, dude, like back in the day, like, oh, dude, how did we have that much freaking energy, bro? Like, oh my gosh, but
you're supposed to. You're supposed to have it. You're supposed to chase the stars. You're supposed to spend every day running around chasing the stars. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have all that energy. And then you just don't have very many wits about you. And if you can somewhere along the way, you don't punch all those wits out of you, that's what you're supposed to have. And it's like I used to tell people all the time, it's at the end of the day, all you're going to be left with are stories. And this is what I tell you all the time is, man, make sure you took the time to fill your book. Because as we get older, you always picture that old man on the rocking chair talking to his grandkids. Are you repeating and telling the same 3 stories? Or, you need to go out there and fill your book. And I used to like live and die by that, especially when I was in college, was, stories. Always wanted to create stories. Always had stories to tell. And I think that's half the reason it even got me started. Going down this fighting road was just, man, fill your book, get out there and create all these stories. Because one day, and then ironically, here we are, it's over and all you're left with the stories. And I don't want to keep saying the same 3, but they're the best 3, but I don't want to keep saying the same 3.
Well, I mean, that's part of your legacy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the stories you leave behind, like how people remember you and stuff like that. Like that's the best part, you know what I'm saying? So you're right, bro. Like you leave the story and you tell the story so people can tell those stories after you know what I'm saying? And that's what the beautiful thing about, your story, bro, is like we were blessed enough to like know each other in our younger years, like you said. And I want to kind of go back into that, bro. And talk about like, your start here, like in Boise, Idaho, and kind of like, how all the cards kind of fell into place and everything like that, man.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, and I don't even remember the song, but there's thing I can't, man. I gotta remember the song, but you die twice, right? Once when you enter the grave, and then the last time is when no one ever mentions your name. Oh, wow. And that's why. So as long as they mention your name, you never truly did. And that's something that stuck with me for a long time. You die twice. And it's like, yeah, man, the first time when you enter the grave and the second time is when nobody ever mentions your name. Obviously, your family, your legacy, and the things you've done. And that's kind of what motivated me a lot, on top of compiling with other things that got me started since you were bringing up the beginning. It is weird, man. I was rapping with Cristobal the other day. It's tough. I can honestly say when I spend so much time filling this brain, it's like things started getting moved out of the way or they get shuffled off to the side. They get dust on. You don't remember, I do remember like Caldwell. I remember that boxing gym. Oh, yeah. I remember, you had to pee in a cup and throw it outside. And
oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But it was the greatest.
Those were the days,
that gym
bro.
To me was the epitome. Rudy. You remember? And what was it? Fredo? Who is this?
Yeah,
the youngster.
My cousin Fredo.
Yeah, pause.
Okay, that's what. See, and I still remember the name Fredo, but I remember how hot it was in that gym. Oh yeah. And the first time I went, was you the first? You took me there. Who took me there the first time?
I remember I used to live right up the hill from you, so I used to swoop you all the time when we go to the gym because I lived. Yep. you lived right there, right off of
Vista.
Vista, and I just lived
Vista.
I lived right up the hill on
Okay.
Federal Way, so I would just come swoop you real quick, and we'd
That's
mash
right.
out to Caldwell.
Well,
to the
that's
gym.
one thing that we get to talk about this part. No one ever talks about this. Is
Yeah.
when he said you had to come swoop me up. I'll admit it. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
have my driver's license. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 32, I think.
Oh, yeah.
32.
You beat
I didn't
me,
have a
bro.
driver's license.
You beat
So
me.
if you didn't, but you all were kind enough to come pick me up. So that is one thing I'll never ever forget. All the times I got to travel, all the things I got to do is the fact that there were people willing to drive me and pick me up. And it's like, I'll pay for gas or do whatever, but people always ask, no,
And
I
we
never
took
had a
food
license.
stamps too. We took food stamps too. If you gave them to
And
us.
did I do food stamps? I can't remember. Did I have them? I don't know if I got them, but I know you would take them, but I don't remember if I had them. I might have threw a book or two at you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I remember Uncle Rudy when I first brought you in, and I was asking him, "Hey, Uncle, you think we can help this guy out because he's getting ready for a big fight?" I think that's when you first got invited to the UFC, and he was like, "No," because back in those days, boxers didn't really like training mixed martial arts because they train boxers train with their hands up. With their chin down, and then MMA, they have their hands down and be aware of all the other angles, with the kicks and whatnot, you know what I mean? So he was like, no, we're not going to train those kind of people. We don't train that kind of facility in here, right? So I was like, well, I'll work with them then. And then when they started seeing the confidence of what you were doing as far as training with us, man, I was like, then they took it to that next level, like, all right, well, we'll work with this kid. We'll see what he can do, man. And that's when we just kept training on that left hook, man, because that thing was so powerful. I was like, wow, man, this guy's going to knock somebody out quick. I said, remember when I was telling you, I was like, dude, if you hit somebody with this left hook, dude, oh, man, it's going to rock.
That was it.
Yeah.
I used to just love training. I mean, I do kind of remember like there was like an initiation to even be to get a part of it. And I can't remember now when I did that. Was I boxing with y'all when we did the Rose Room fight? Right? Is that what that thing was called? The Rose Room?
I'm not really sure.
That?
I'm not really sure, but
I do remember
I'm not sure if we boxed in or not, but I think I did. I think we got started, but I do remember like getting that funny look like, nah, I don't train wrestlers. We don't do that shit. We don't mess with that. I'm like, no, I just want to box. I want to box. I just want to learn. But I do remember working out that. I remember how hot it was. It was in the back of a
restaurant or something too was right
no,
there.
it was the tuxedo. It was our aunt and uncle's
tuxedo shop. Ooh,
Yeah,
speaking of, I got to get measured. That's what it was. It was the back of a tuxedo shop. We was in the back side of a tuxedo shop. And to me, it was heaven. That was the greatest gym. If you jumped high enough, you could almost hit the rafters.
When you're in the
ring. Yeah. No tall people allowed.
The thing is, Jens, when most true champions come from boxing gyms like that, man, because they have the heart to drive and just fight until they get where they need to be. You know what I mean? Because we come from nothing, and to do that, it's like, man.
But back then there was no MMA really. Right, it just started happening. I can't remember who was that Shuey and them people. They had.
Oh wow, yeah.
They had a man. I don't remember in Nampa or something. There was a gym they had. And we were just
sidekicks.
Like I said,
I think
sidekicks or something.
Yeah. Gents, I was just talking about that.
Boxing is it.
I was just talking about that, gents, on one of my other episodes about how when we were doing MMA around here, like nobody would mess with us, man. Remember, like the boxing commission wouldn't sanction, like the martial arts commission wouldn't sanction. Like it was hard to like get like in a professional like sort of arena out here because like nobody wanted to be down with the MMA. So we just had like the old school kumites and the summer fight series. I don't know if you remember the Vale Tudo fights and the summer fight series.
Actually, he Jens was on our corner when we were fighting one of those tournaments.
We're like, oh, down there, because we were watching some old school videos, and I was fighting, and you were in my corner. You were yelling. I was like, oh, Dan, there's Jens. Check him out.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, there was no sanction. That's why I tell people, like, my first 8-9 fights there are no such thing. There was no sanctioning body. What we did, you would be able to go fight in a gym. Yeah. And it's just like, and everybody the referees were the coaches or something like that. And you would just fight just like that. Like I said, I remember setting up that one in the old Bronco gym, and my friend was so zoomed in on me that all you could see are my shorts. I'm like, oh man, what? I go, oh, I can't believe what I just did this fight for nothing. And so then I had to set it up again the next weekend. Like I don't know how, but Boise State allowed me to use that Bronco gym to set up a ring and literally just bring people in on the weekends and beat them up. It was awesome. But I remember, like, I think Eric Hines was another one that was fighting and stuff. And then we started, and then of course Uberd, may he rest in peace. That was I don't think that's one thing people never understood is how far back me and Justin went when he came, because he moved out here to Iowa, and because he was going to Iowa State, and it's crazy how we met up. We met up one time in California, and when I was down there with Shamrock, because he was going to Chico State, I believe is what it was, and then after that, I'm like, all right, and then I took off to Iowa, and then I had somebody talk to me in Iowa, going, "Hey, there's this badass football player, this linebacker that's from Idaho." What? Oh yeah, I think he's from Boise or Nampa or something like that. Oh, really? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what's his name? They go, oh, they call him the Ubird. I'm like, Ubird? Like, yeah. I go, well, what's his name? They go, Justin Eilers. I go, what? Shut up. I go, what? I go, are you serious? They're like, yeah, Justin. I go, what? So then I called Iowa State looking for him, hunting him down, chasing after him. I'm like, hey. And then I finally got a hold of him, and he's like, yeah, he's finishing up his college career. And obviously his attitude kept him out of the NFL. So I'm like, well, hey, if you're not doing anything, you can come on down here to Militich with me, live with me, and fight. And he's like, what? And that's how we started. But it was crazy how our paths took us all the way from, again, back there in the day in Boise, in Nampa. And Justin was the only one that I remember. He was all the way out here for football. And then, that was like my little brother. It was crazy, man, to send him home for Christmas and to get that phone call. Yo, by the way, he just got shot and killed. Like, what?
Man, it was pretty sad, man. He was a good dude, man.
Yeah, right before.
But it was cool just how far we came along. And that's why I always had that. He was kind of that piece that I had with me he knew from the beginning, like you said, when you're breaking these down, fighting in people's gyms, literally just going into their gym with your friends and let's fight.
Yeah. I remember right before he took off, because I don't know if you remember Bogies.
Remember Bogies?
I do remember a Bogies.
So
there was something
Justin was bouncing out there right before he took off. And I remember he was telling us, because I mean, of course, he would come down to the gym and box too. And along with Mike Kyle too. Mike Kyle, remember Mike Kyle? Mike Kyle,
he ended up moving. Yeah, he did something. He's out there in California.
Yeah, he's in California.
Yeah, he would come over to the gym and get beat up too.
He became kind of a dirty fighter. Mike Kyle had that was a trip. I never really brought him up in the fight world, but then I was going through watching some old WCs, and I think he had fouled somebody. I was like, man, he got kicked out for, I can't remember
just fighting dirty
what he did, but I was like, man, Mike Kyle. It was just hard. It was to remember that name. Like, this guy.
For some reason, I think it was like he bit somebody or something.
Oh, he did. He bit somebody. I think he bit somebody. Yeah. Literally, it was Wes Sims, and he bit him on the titty. Yeah. I'm telling you, that's exactly what he did. I believe it was. Now I remember watching the fight, because like I said, I'd run that UFC stream, and we were watching old WEC, and I think, or it was I think it was in the UFC or something. He bit him. He bit him in the titty. I couldn't
beat him in the titty.
The titty bitty.
Right? And then he's like, and I remember like, why? He's like, well, he was joking me. Well, you can fight your way out of the choke. You can't bite somebody in the titty. And he did. You know what I mean? I just got done watching season 10 of The Ultimate Fighter. So like every Tuesday we watch The Ultimate Fighter on the UFC stream. Yeah. And season 10 was Rampage Jackson and Rashad Evans and titties. He had that dude he called titties. So I'm like, it's just funny that titties.
Man,
in my head, bro.
I was catching up on some of those too, freaking not too long ago. Nowadays I stay too busy. I can't even barely get an episode of anything in, bro. But what do you call it? So speaking of being here and then taking off, I remember when you first got out and you went out to do the UFC in Lake Charles, and you fought Alfonso Alcaraz.
Yeah.
And you came back and you said, bro, I think I threw so many knees. I stopped counting. And your knees were like hella swollen from throwing so many knees on that fight, dude. And you came back, bro, and we were all talking about it. And that night we all had, we all went and celebrated, your win and came back. And I still have this, bro. You freaking took this off while we were getting
Holy shit.
We were getting ready to drop you off. You took this off and you gave it to me. You like, here, bro. Take this, and I still have it, bro. Look.
No way. Look at that thing.
Jen's
Holy
forward.
Shit. Dude, that's crazy.
Right?
Wow.
Right?
Damn.
I still have it, bro. Freaking.
And then didn't even wash it either. It's still dirty.
No, I used to wear it, bro. I used to be like, yeah, freaking my homie Jens, he's doing the UFC thing now. But little did we know, bro, you were going to become a legend, bro. Freaking, I remember, how beautiful is it, bro, to be immortalized, man, in video games and in action figures, man. Like, bro, you'll never be forgotten, especially the name that you put on the UFC, bro. Like, who like, we would have never thought, I mean, of course we all knew that, you had it, bro. We knew that you had it, but like,
I know that
it's
when
such a crazy thing to like, boom, bro. And I got to see your reaction when they inducted you into the Hall of Fame, bro. And like, bro, you had me choked up.
Yeah,
bro.
you had me
it was
on me teared up too, man.
I know. I'm messing with y'all.
Especially when I seen your son and when you said, I just want you to be proud of your dad. And that's me too, bro. Like all I want to do is be for my kids to be proud of me, dude. All the things that I've done, you know what I mean? And
100.
to see that, and then man, it got me, it gave me the goosebumps, and man, it got me all teared up too. I was like, wow, man, that's just like me.
Yeah, I am though. But it was the way it was set up, and I think one of the main things was like a few years back they would call and ask about, hey, do you want to do the Where Are They Now? And I was like, what? UFC would call it like, where are they now? I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing this. Like, why? I go, because I don't like where I'm at. I go, no, man, I ain't doing this. I go, hell no, I ain't doing it. But then it was funny because they called again this time. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. I go, I'll do it. And it's just kind of goes back to, I was just at a point in my life where I was happy. And I was happy enough that, again, with my wife, my kids, I didn't have all those regrets. And I always tell people, and this is the message, you know what I mean? Having that fight in you is like, if you can just learn how to love yourself, right? If you learn how to be your own best friend, if you can just learn how to love yourself right here, right now, even if that means from this day forward, I'm going to pick myself up, get in touch with myself. I'm going to start to improve. I'm going to start doing this, or I'm motivated, whatever. But if you can just love who you are right now, then you have no regrets. You have bumps, you have things that happen, but you have nothing holding you down. You have no anchors. And I released that. And along the way, doing this Ultimate Fight, doing the UFC Twitch stream, I've had to go back and I get a lot of questions and stuff. And I just started learning, like, I really love where I'm at in my life. I love everything. I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing for a job. I love my family, my babies. I love where I came from. I love my story. And all of a sudden, all those regrets went away. I had my losses. I had my bumps, you know what I mean? And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it this time. Yeah, sure. And I knew we had that big, we were doing the watch along. I had Mike Davis, UFC fighter, and TSM Vis, big Vis, who's a big streamer. And we were watching the pay-per-view, and they said it was funny because they go, all right, well, they want to see your reaction when the main card starts. I'm like, what? So you're gonna have to go big screen because they want to see your reaction for something. I figured maybe they're gonna say, where are they now? Then my wife texts and goes, hey, your son has a project for school. He needs to watch you at work. And I'm like, all right, well, a few weeks ago he had interviewed me. So I was like, all right, yeah, no problem. So he's sitting literally right there. And so these sons of bitches painted this thing perfect. The UFC, everybody, my moderator, my producer, Sean, nobody said nothing. My manager, Brian Butler, nobody said anything. And all of a sudden I'm sitting and I'm like, all right, fine. So the main card starts. I go big screen. I'm like, all right, what am I reacting to? And then I seen that it was, who got in right before me? Jose Aldo got in first. I believe it was Jose Aldo that got it. So I'm like, ooh, okay, we're talking about Jose Aldo. All right, cool. I'm like, maybe that's my reaction. So I'm trying to be extra, And then all of a sudden I see this, I go, shut the fuck up. I'm like, why are they showing me? I'm like, shut the fuck up. And so I got set up to a point, but it goes back to the reason why it was such a surprise was because I was okay. You know what I mean? I was okay in my life. I was okay. And again, I love all the fans and stuff. They come in, you should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, nah. In fact, we have a video 2 hours before that where I was first started streaming. I said, I just haven't done enough. Somebody had asked that question. Hey, you're in the Hall of Fame, right? I'm like, nah. What? And I'm like, nope. I go, I'm not in the Hall of Fame. I go, I didn't do enough. And then it says 2 hours later. And then here I am doing that. But it was something, like I said, for my son, because you guys know, that was the thing that back in the day that motivated me was I just I needed to change my name. And I got to meet Bob Shamrock along the way when I did that first UFC fight. I think I went down there for a couple of weeks. And me and Nate Pettit was over there in Vegas. You know what I mean? Running that Extreme Couture. And I went down and I met Bob. And I remember, I'll never forget what Bob said. He goes, hey, man. I was like, man, I want to change my name. I want to be Jen Shamrock. You know what I mean? I want you to adopt me. I don't want this name, Jens Pulver. And he goes, look, as much as I love you, son, he goes, I'm going to tell you what. He goes, you're not going to change your name, but you're going to change your name. You're going to change what it means. I was like, all right. And that's another thing that kind of set me off. And down the road I went was, that's like, all right. So I just, along the way, going back to this Hall of Fame, having my son sit right there, I'm like, I hope you're proud of me. I hope one day you will be proud of me because I hated my father. And all I have are bad memories. I don't even think if there was a good one, I have to be reminded of it. But all I think about it was where I categorized him in this situation. Like, you were this POS, you were this piece of shit that this is why I did everything that I did do, which is funny because if I could wake him up, I would thank him because I never gave up. I never took the easy route. I never, with the drinking, the drugs, I didn't allow excuses to be the things that stopped me. I had plenty of reasons to not make it in life. I could be serving 60 years like my middle brother right now. You know what I mean? And I had plenty of reasons, but I had people like you and things like that just coming up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't have to become anything. I could have just sat back and been nothing. But that was the reason, was no way am I going to sit back and, that's the thing people got to drive is change your name, change your story and get out there. And that's the one thing with my son was, is I hope that you can keep this with you. I hope that you can be proud of me when you talk about me later on in life. So that's what I had that moment with him and to me, I think it's funny because I know I talk a lot. See, y'all thought nothing's different, right?
Yeah, bro.
All right, look.
This is about you, dog.
I'm just saying, I do talk a lot, so I don't overwhelm because Cristobal probably still a smartass. He reminded me, he was always a little bit of a smartass. I don't think he's. I got a little bit of that. I got a little bit of that when I talked to him on the phone the other day. I'm like, you still the same, man. You still a little smartass. I get it.
Yeah,
lucky you were a little badass back then. I liked you, but you a little smartass. But no,
I like your pants.
But but that was the one thing. It's again to just be able to go out there and I got to remember where I was because I just got sidetracked because you're smart ass. But no, I think, like I said, the journey and everything like that. So when I get this Hall of Fame induction to me, and somebody just said it best on the stream was, dude, your heroic journey can end. And I'm like, holy shit, my man went straight hobbits on me and says, you can now return back to the Shire because I have this. It's funny because I have this overwhelming desire to go back to my past. And that's one reason why it was cool to reach out and be able to do this with you guys. And I talked to my friends in high school and stuff like that is, I don't know what this is. And I was trying to explain it on the stream. Like, I don't know why, but I have this desire. I want to go back to where it all started. And I want to go back and I want to talk to everybody. It's weird. And somebody said it's because your heroic journey has finally come to an end. And it goes, what I was saying about my father, if I could, I would thank him because I wouldn't have taken this journey if it wasn't for him. If I could wake him up. And that's when I tell people that message, that traumatic thing in your life that it at the time seems life ending. And God forbid, please don't ever be in that situation where you are taking your life, but it seems life ending. If you just keep moving forward and keep pushing and you build and grow and learn how to become your own best friend and expand your world, one day, if you were to tell me I would thank my father for all of this, You know what I'm saying? I would be thanking him for all this. Yeah. And I couldn't wait to get back to my past. I ran from it for so long because I hadn't achieved what I was trying to achieve. But once I got back, once I got this stamp and this seal that truly I was done, you know, I mean, my story is ended. It's over. And I'm cool with it. And I immediately found myself circling the wagons like it's time to go home. And so that's my message to anybody. Just keep moving forward, man, 1 foot at a time, 1 day at a time. Learn above everything else. Learn how to be your own best friend, because there are plenty of people out there right now that'll see your shine and see your smile and do everything they can to knock that smile out your face. And I always tell people, 10 people, 4 want to knock the smile out your face for no other reason. They just see you smiling. Their life is shit. They don't give 2 shits and they just want to do it. Then you'll have 4 more. And I'm generous when I say 4 more. Well, you have 4 more. They'll give you a high five. Look at you. And then when you walk away, flipping you off, going, yeah, easy for that piece of shit. He's got it easy. He got this. You know, this was so easy for him. And you'll have 2. And that's what I mean by I'm being generous when I say 2 out of those 10 that are genuinely happy for you for no other reason than you're smiling. And that's something like, and that's it. I could say 1, but that's what I learned when people ask about being famous. That's what being famous taught me. Out of 10 people, that's the world. So you have to learn how to be your own best friend. You have to learn how to put that smile on your face, like training and anything else. And like I said, once I started doing that, things opened up, and here we are at the end of the journey.
The one thing about you, Jens, bro, is like you've always been the type of dude that has always been genuine. You know what I'm saying? And like, and the fact that you've gone through all the things that could have easily taken somebody out and put them down the wrong path, you use those as fuel, man. And when you realized that you wanted to help other people too, which was freaking phenomenal, bro. You actually like you came back to your roots over here, you know, and started a gym, you know, for other people to come through and like, you know, try to achieve the same dream as you, if that's what they wanted, you know, and you built something for like selflessly, bro. You built something for other people, and that was a gym that you named Driven. Let's talk about that, man, for a minute.
You know, I think the biggest issue I ran into, which I know it happened, but I had a chip on my shoulder. Again, I wasn't ready. But when I came back to Boise, I don't know what it was. I was still fighting a little bit, but I had a chip on my shoulder. All those people that didn't say I was going to amount to it, all those people that didn't think I could do it, who are all those people that were the shoeies and, you know, these other people that were against us, that didn't think we were good enough. And so now I was kind of back going, and I had this chip on my shoulder right off the bat. And I think that was the one thing. As much as I wanted everybody to train and have fun, I wasn't ready because I learned I was still fighting. And that was single-handedly the hardest thing to do, is allow other people to run the gym in the beginning and just I had to step away and still try to fight and, you know, and things like that. The timing was terrible for me, but you know, I'm definitely glad we gave it a shot. It was something, you know, I was like, I wanted to go home. I wanted to go back. And I know I'm from Maple Valley, you know, Seattle area, but Boise is truly, I tell people Boise is my home because it's where I first started my independent life. It's where I went to college. It's where you know what I mean? It's where I became, like I said, a young adult. And so I wanted to go back there. And that was the issue, was I had that chip on my shoulder. Oh, if you were from the past, I wanted nothing to do with you. I don't even want to know you. Get away from me. Nope, I ain't talking to you. I ain't talking to you. And so it was for all the wrong reasons. I think I did that first gym. Other than, I mean, obviously the ultimate goal, working with kids and teaching them, that's a big one. But I think on the inside, it wasn't there yet, like I said. But yeah, I mean, that was the one gym. I wish it was my own demise, because I allowed other people to make the answers for me because I was too busy still fighting. And that's kind of, you know, like location, stuff like that. I didn't mind the location. I didn't mind driving every day. You know, I mean, I didn't realize how far Nampa was from Boise until I started doing it. But, you know, but allowing people then, and we was driving to Caldwell. I was like, damn, y'all used to drive me to Caldwell to box. That's, you guys are badass. So I think that was the biggest thing with that gym, was I wasn't ready. And I knew it too, because one of the reasons I never sold my house here in Idaho, like, because I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that, yeah, I do remember having that gym and getting it started. I remember putting on that one event, something like that. Big John, I remember trying to do all
Big
that,
John.
you know, and bring everything back and have that one big event. But it just, it became competition with the locals and stuff. You know, they had their show and they took me as, rather than trying to work together, they were like, well, we got to bury this little bastard. He's out there thinking he's going to be a big famous dude and try to come into our local place and beat us. And that's basically what I ran into. I ran into everybody like locally teamed up, like, to hell with this outsider. And that's how I truly felt. It's like, shit, man,
Crazy.
I'm an outsider. This ain't even, and that's when I realized, and for the longest time, I was like, shit, Boise ain't my home. I had this messed up idea of Boise, or I had that college idea of what we did, you know, going to college and stuff like that. But when I went back to Sanctum, I was like, this ain't my home. And that was literally the last time I ever showed up in Boise.
That's crazy because, you know, from the perspective of you know, people who were rooting for you, like when we saw it, bro, we had like, so hearing that from you is kind of opposite from the way we viewed it, because we were rooting for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, hell yeah, man, Jens has this thing going, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, gonna do his thing, freaking whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we had no idea like that kind of turmoil was going on, you know, inside of you. So that's interesting to learn that right now, bro. And but you know, there was a lot of people that did support you, you know, like how you said, Big John.
Yep, 100. And there was a lot. There was a lot of people that supported it. A lot of people in Boise. But like I said, I think it was just, you know, when you have that, you just can't wait to get home.
Right.
You know, you think you've done enough and you just can't wait to get back. And you just feel like you're letting people down. Or there's people that, I don't know. I just was like, I think what it really truly boils down to, I know I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. I wasn't ready. And I can only say that, you know, hindsight being 2020, I can say that now because here I am. And now all I find myself wanting to do is, it's not like you were a former UFC world champion. You're not this and that. It's like, you're the UFC Hall of Fame. And that is, I'm like, man, you know, and like I said, being out of the game now for 8 years, being a family guy with my kid. I call them my babies. They're not that they're old, but they're still my babies.
You're always gonna call them.
They're always my babies, right?
Dude,
they're
I
my
got
babies.
25, 26-year-old dude, and they're still my babies, dog.
They're always your babies, no matter what, man.
Yeah, Carson, you know, 14 is always my baby, and then my other, you know, Hayden, she's 11. She's 12. I mean, she's my big baby. So, you know, but I just and then Madeline, shoot, she just turned 20. So, dang, man, y'all my babies. So, yeah, but go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you shouted out Big John, and he's got his own chain of restaurants down here, bro. That's killing it, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's doing the restaurant thing. Shout out Big John.
Really?
What's up? But
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like fine dining, bro, and like there's like opening up everywhere, dude, and. We go and we see him. What's up, Big John? And he always still shows us love too.
Shows us a lot of
love.
See,
that's Boise. I bet you Boise's gotten big. How big is Nampa and Caldwell?
Oh, bro, it's already all starting.
It's all starting to come together, dude. They're like, there's so many.
It's all intermingled now, isn't it?
It's all coming together.
I knew it.
And Cuna, bro, is like coming in.
Cuna.
It's coming into like Meridian already, bro.
And they're building a big.
No way.
I think they're building a big Amazon, or what's going out there in Cuna? Some kind of big. Something going on big out there, man.
Amazon distributor out there where everybody can work for Amazon. And
huge.
All those boxes, dude. They mailing things every day. They'll send you a package in 2 days. It'd be hard, man. The mail got to keep going out there.
Bro, there's a thing now you can get it the same day, bro.
I know.
Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I tripped out.
A drone's gonna land on your porch and drop it off.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, it is cool. Like
so, I want
to get back.
Right.
So what I want to ask you, and I think I asked you the other night that we were talking on the phone, is that when you first got invited to the UFC for your first big fight, and I gave you this glove, this boxing glove that I've gotten when I went to Texas, and it was a 14-karat gold plate. I'm not sure if it was real or what, but it was a boxing glove, and I said, "Here, man, this boxing glove is gonna give you good luck, and you're gonna become famous. But there's one thing I want I want to say, man, don't ever forget about the little people, man. You're like, man, I love you, man. And you're like, I'll never forget the little people, man. And that's the thing about you. You never forgot about us, man. And I still
have that damn glove.
I know.
But it's in the safe. It's in my safe right now. I have the glove. I told you, it's like, man, I still have that glove. I gotta look it up.
But the thing is, gents, like for me, dude, that's much love and respect, man. You didn't forget about us, man. So I'm just showing you love on that part, man. So
I appreciate that. Well, like I said, man, it's like I know where I come from, and I'm not ashamed of who I've known and what I've done and who I've, where I've been. And it's like I said, it's the weirdest thing in the world is to get this Hall of Fame induction. I mean, like I keep bringing it up, but it's a trip. It's I've never wanted to go back and see everybody like I have now, even with world champion and stuff. I didn't, but now I'm like, man, I want to go back and see everybody. I want my kids to kind of see where I'm from and hear some of the stories, not all the stories. They're not old enough for that shit. But to hear some of the stories. But no, that's the one thing. And so it was really cool to be able to reach out to you, which was even more funny that I had your phone number the whole time, jackass. Wow. And you had mine too. So
no, I looked it up. I looked up on my phone. Like I thought I had your number, but I never had your number.
Oh, you never had it? Well, I never had it. But I'm shitty at that stuff.
You're too famous.
Ironically,
it's
not too famous. In fact, it's the opposite. I feel like people are too busy. And it's just a mind setting is I'm like, you know what? I don't want to bug them. Like I'll reach out to them later because I'm like, I'm cool where I'm at. I don't want to mess with anybody. They're probably busy. Who knows what they're doing? So I'll talk to them later. I don't want to bug them. And that's that sad ass story that I would tell myself all the time with people is now I'm just irritating. I'm like, I'll just text, hey, what's up? How you doing? And if they don't come back, I'm like, all right, but at least I tried.
Right. It was another thing too is that what's funny is that my brother and I would be watching UFC fights of whatever fights going on, then you'd be down there and commentating and on the side of the octagon or whatnot, and then I go, hey, there's Jen Spore, there's Lil Evil. They're like, so like that's my friend. They're like, nah, whatever, Cristobal, you don't even know that.
You don't know him.
You're full of crap.
Hell yeah,
I go, no, that's my friend. That's my friend.
So man, how's everything going for you two? What y'all been doing?
Good. This 12 rounds podcast. We're now in the second season right now, so that you're part of the second season.
Ooh, I like it.
We've been man, they've been showing us hella love. We got listeners from France, Germany, Mexico, like all international. Canada is a big one that they show us hella love out there. The local scene has been like hella like receptive to what we've been doing.
Cool.
We've had just because the premise of this show allows people to come on and if they choose to be vulnerable, they can, because it's really like we do want to share stories about people's freaking trials and tribulations and also triumphs, so like
yeah.
It's one of those things and where you don't have to feel and just to teach other people too that might tune in or whatever, bro. You know what I mean? Like that everybody's human, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody goes through something and maybe
it don't matter who you are. Everybody feels this shit. You're left, and that's the thing is they make you feel like you. And then like there's something wrong with you and you're broken. That's how I tell man, it don't matter. Learn how to be your own best friend. Learn how to say good things to yourself because here's the problem. If I sometimes the shit I will say to myself, if I caught you saying that to my son or my daughter or my family or even my friends, I would beat the brakes off you. So why is it okay that you can say that? But I'm saying, why is it okay that you can say it to yourself? Yeah. It's not. Right. But somewhere along the way, you learn that you internalize this shit and you tell yourself, no, man, you can't. No, bullshit. And it's like anything else, like training, you have to do it. You got to do it one day at a time. And like, you don't just start off running 10 miles. You don't just start off lifting all those weights. You got to start slow, repetition, one at a time, man. A couple of jabs on the bag, boom. Next day, you're going 3 or 4. But learn how to once a week, man, say one good thing to yourself. That's all you need to do, man, is start the day by saying one good thing, one positive thing. If you really have to search that far into it, then you really need to work. But it takes time like anything else. 21 days to create a habit. I don't know if that's a true number, but that's what I say. So 21 days to create a habit. So you have to do this repetition every day. Learn to have, learn to be good to yourself. Learn how to be your own best friend. And I tell people all the time is go out there and fill your cup, and every day, then you can pass that around and fill it up again and again, and so you have to do it. It doesn't matter how quote unquote famous you are. There are people right now ready to say some dumb shit instantly. And that used to be my problem. I couldn't, when it came to, social media and stuff, I was like, man, whoever you are, I want to find you. I want to find you. That's why my social media is so small. And I was like, I couldn't do it. I got booted off Twitter. Instagram, I was up in the 200,000s like 5 years ago and said, deleted it. Like, fuck, no, I ain't doing this. Facebook, I barely even touch it, because I was like, I always felt like if you're going to say things like this, let's take the anonymity out of it. I want you to say this to me, but that's the message. The message I will tell anybody is this. All the places I've traveled, all the things I've done, all the people I've met, I've never, ever had anybody say the pungent shit they'll write about.
Yep.
And I'm not saying it because I'm a badass. I'm saying it because that's how cowards work.
Yep.
And that's what chicken shits do. They got to say that to build themselves, but they'll never say it to you. So don't ever take that shit any farther than breathe it in, blow it out. It's done. Don't ever let anybody influence you and scare you and push you into that just by some random social media comment made by a nitwit who can't even put their real name. So don't ever let that shit bother you. Don't ever let that shit drive you, and don't ever let it fuel you, because you shouldn't be talking that negative to yourself in the first place. And that's what I would tell anybody. And that is literally my message. Learn how to be your own best friend, because if you can't be good to yourself, you'll never be good to anybody else, period.
Exactly. Truth, man. Truth, dog. And that's, that's one thing we have to learn, bro. Like, we have to, like, just like you said, it's like
just like learning boxing, just like learning cooking, just like learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
Repetition. Show up every day to the gym. Show up every day to work. Show up every day to class. Show up every morning to that mirror and tell yourself one good thing. Write this shit down. Get a calendar, and on there, put your every day. I'm going to say something good. I'm going to have 10 minutes of reflection time, and it's going to be positive time. So I'm going to be good to myself. Keep that scale even, because there are plenty of people want to knock that shit down to the floor and run over the top of you. That's how this shit's designed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially someone in your position, Jens, where you are a celebrity, like people don't understand that celebrities tend to be more of a punching bag for those keyboard gangsters than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So that shit ain't easy, man.
And I got lucky because I run the UFC Twitch stream. So, Twitch TV/UFC, we have about 1,000 people constantly in there. So there'll be 15, 16,000 people coming through there, but there's about 1,000 constantly in there. And I remember when it first started, this is funny, man. This is funny. My friend Sean, he was like, I met him building computers. Like, oh my God, I love this. I'm a big wannabe nerd, man. I want to build computers. This is the coolest thing in the world. And I met him, and he's like, oh, you need to start streaming. I'm like, hell no. He's like, what? I go, no way. No way. He's like, why? I go, because, man, people are going to say shit, and I'm going to get all pissed off. That's why I wasn't even loud on social media all this time. Because I was like, I can't. I'll get mad. And he's like, all right, I'll tell you what. I'll do this, but you have to be my bodyguard. And he's like, what? I go, you gotta police them, man. You gotta make sure that they don't get to me. And the biggest thing is remind me, because I'm instant. As soon as I see someone write something, I will, and I'm still learning, I will ruin the whole stream and let that one thing they said dig, and I can't stop. So then I start digging back, and there's 999 other people sitting there going, this isn't what we want to hear.
What's going on?
You know what I mean? This is what we want to hear. This is bullshit. And so I started learning like how much I can affect everything around me just by, I think I'm battling this one moment, but harping on it, repetition, harping on it ruins the mood of everybody. It's like, so I'm learning all the time. I learned how to, you got to learn how to slide that shit off, man. Bob, weave, slow, roll underneath, let it dip, come back, hit that one counter and be done with it. But don't sit there and dwell on it. And don't stay in the middle of that. Change up your style. And so that's been the biggest thing that I learned with this social media and things like that I like to think I created a pretty badass community. It doesn't last. A lot of positivity. And again, it sucks. What do they say? One negative can kill 100 positives. And it's proof. There's 100 people, there's like 999 people sitting in this chat, and one negative will just, I will shit on the whole parade because of that one little. So now imagine if you're saying that shit to yourself, Now it's the 1-ton brick that broke the camel's back. And now you're doing something stupid. And now you're going to do something you're not going to regret. And God forbid, never close the book. And this is the thing I keep with me above everything else. Never close the door on the person you're going to be in 5 years, because I promise you, life will be different. The issues will be different. I still look at this damn thing on my hand when I thought I was a gangster back in the day when I first got out of high school. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man. I thought that's as good as it was going to get. Life couldn't get better. Then I went to college like, this is pretty badass. Then here I am 5.5 years later and they're putting a UFC title around my waist. It's like, what an idiot. That's why I call my idiot stamp. But never close the door on the person you're going to be in 5 years, because I promise you, they're going to want, things will be different. You know what I mean? 48-year-old Jens is so happy that dumbass 19, 20, 21-year-old Jens rolling with you little nitwits. We didn't do anything too damn dumb, though. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm so happy. And that's the message you can tell people. That's what the old school gets to tell is, dude, I'm so happy I never closed the door on opportunity. I'm so happy I'm not serving 60 years like my brother. And God forbid, I'm not in the dirt like my cousin who at 16 years old shot and killed himself. What problem do you have in fucking high school that's so bad? The issue is this: because your world is so small, your problems are so big, high schoolers. That's your problem. Yeah. And you'll learn later. Your world is so small, those problems are just mountains, right? Never close the door on the person you're going to be, because I look at that now and I think about shit like that. I'm like, I can't even remember. Like, we're sitting here and we're BSing about college and stuff like that. It's like all nothing but good times. Just remember that. You don't remember, the hate and the anger and the bad shit that happened. And so that's one thing I think everybody needs. When you keep fighting, right? Everybody's fight, man. Fight to step forward. Fight every day to make your steps. Fight every day to say positive shit to yourself. Fight every day and never, ever close the door on the person you're going to be in 5 years. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm so thankful that little dumb shit didn't do anything dumb to me, allowing me to be a world champion. And like I said, here I am about to get put into the UFC Hall of Fame. I'm so glad that dumbass didn't do anything back then, Hey, me being the dumbass.
Yeah, no, and I think it really comes along, with just, that's part of growing up too, but like,
100.
But the idea, like, if we can share that to the young crowd that listens into this, to keep moving forward, like you said, and to make sure that you are looking at where you're going to be in 5 years or whatever. That way you can never.
Well, it is tough because social media makes it hard because it's harder to hide. Back in the day, dude, all I had to do was just go home and it was over. Just don't answer the phone, you know what I mean, or whatever. There was no internet. There was no, and that's the thing is, it's so hard now because people they can do it. That's why you have to learn. You have to learn how to be your own best friend, because it's not easy to turn that phone off. It's not easy because you got to know. I want to know what they said. I want to know what they're saying. Yeah. I got to know what they're doing. I got to know what they're saying. And it eats at you. It eats at you. And then it's like, damn it, I knew they said negative things. How can I live? It just sucks so bad. I can't hide. And they're everywhere. That's why you have to learn how to put it. And I teach that every day with my children. You got to learn how to be your own best friend first, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It's straight poison, bro. And the thing is that especially the younger kids, man, they look to social media to validate themselves. You know what I'm saying? And like they look to those likes for validation and all that. So like if we could turn things around, you know what I'm saying, and utilize the platforms, like YouTube.
As long as you're willing to be you, as long as you're willing to be you and understand. Like I said, think about the 10. There's going to be 4 that just say something pungent because they don't give a shit. They don't have that life. And you have to be willing to look at that and go, man. And when they'll say some negative shit on the stream every now and then. And it's funny because I'm like, could you imagine? And I'll tell chat, I go, imagine chat. Imagine that you're this, whatever they write their name up, 1, 2, 4, 6. And all you can do is you pop into a stream and you see everybody smiling and have a good time. And the first thing you can do is come in there and say, what a piece of shit, Jens Pulver, you suck balls. It's like, I go, you know what? It doesn't make me mad. And back in the day it would. But you know why it doesn't make me mad? I go, imagine, chat. Imagine what their life is like. Yeah. And if for 1 second they get some kind of gratification by being negative to me, you know what? Because I'm good enough where I'm at in my life, I'll take it. Allow me to take it. I'm like, there you go. And that's why I always keep the UFC world title and I'll slang it over my shoulder. I go, yep. I go, that's why I keep my feel good with me. Everybody's got to have that title that, like I said, learn how to feel good, be good to yourself. And so you can brush that up and realize that it's just people don't imagine what their life is like. That is what they have to do. They have to just go into an anonymous, well, I'm not anonymous, but you know what I mean? The first time chat, and they'll walk in there just to say something negative to you because they see that smile on your face. And then it gets a little trickier when we deal with the next four because they're the shady people you have to be careful of because they'll give you a high five. And then when you're not looking, they're flipping you off and they're talking shit. And those are just life lessons. You're just going to have to learn about those people. Yeah. But what you don't do is you never let them goad you. You never let them steal your shine because then that makes you that they're beating you. And you know what I mean? You can't let them beat you. That's that fight we're talking about. Yeah. That fight is to keep your shine. That fight is to keep your smile at all times. Keep that little flame inside of you. That's why we fight every day. And every day, in order to fight, we have to be in shape. So what do? Repetition, repetition, repetition. If you can't say good shit to yourself, then you're in trouble. Right. On top of that, we get back to the last two. And I stretch when I say the two that are genuinely happy for you. What you will learn really fast is how to appreciate them. And you'll find them. And you can go out and you can look and find like-minded people that do what you do. And that's what you got to do is start developing that kind of community. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge them by their stature. Don't judge them by how many likes or their clothing or anything like that. Judge them by the way they look at you and the way they treat you and the things they say to you. And it's not because you gave them something that they're okay with you. It's because you didn't do anything but give them who you are. You just are who you are. And those are going to be your people. And you'll find it. And that's no matter who you are. There's no amount of fame in the world. Look at the media and shit like that now. Yeah. There's no amount of fame in the world that will protect you from this. Right. So you have to learn how to be your own best friend first.
Yeah. Let's talk about the chat. I want to hear how your adventures in your streaming thing came about, bro.
So what it was Sean was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. Not gonna lie. I was like, when I retired, I was just broken. Like, man, I'm done. I'm losing. I went on this losing streak. And the reason why I went on a losing streak is my wife was like, man, would you please go to training camp? Get your ass out of here and go train. I'm like, nah, I don't want to. So I go, I want to be around my kids. I go, I want to be around my family because again, the way I grew up, that is what I fought for. Yeah. I fought for that. I fought to be a better dad and a better husband. And the family was everything to me. So I should have walked away right about at that moment, but I don't know. You're 32, you're 33 years old. You're like, of course not. You don't want to, the wheels don't fall off. And I was like, she's like, go away to camp. And I was like, nah, I'll just try to make it work here, and I'll try to train here. But my heart was just, I always fought hard when I got out there, but it was, when I tell people I couldn't be the little savage that I was, the reason why they call me Lil Evil, because I could never yell at my kids. I never wanted to be impatient. I never wanted to yell at them or anything like that. So I was just happy and I could never turn it on and just be that, just go out there and just be that beast, because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to turn it off. And so anyway, so one day I was sitting and I had a lot of regrets. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And Sean says, dude, stream. Because you love playing video games. You always like playing video games. Check out this Twitch stream. I'm like, all right. And sure as shit, man, he sent me a computer and he's like, I want you to start doing this. And I said, all right, well, here's the deal. And it goes back to this, chat. And this is, well, for everybody that listens, accountability. And this is something you need to take with you. And I said, all right, well, I'll tell you what, since you're taking the time to build my Twitch page and you're taking the time to make sure this PC is up and running, I promise you, I found my quote unquote coach. I found my, I go, we'll set up a calendar, which is why I tell everybody get a calendar and I will follow that thing because whenever I was in training camp, nothing could affect me. Even when I was wrestling, you see all the wrestlers during season, we're angels. Yeah. Then all of a sudden season's over. We don't know what the fuck to do with ourselves. We're running around drinking and starting fights. Or when you're in a training camp or when it's in your season, whatever it was, or when people are in prison, they get institutionalized. When you're in the military, you get institutionalized. You get into this regime where your job is to do one thing. Wake up at this time and go to the gym. And these coaches are telling you what to do. And they're telling you how to get, and you just got it. All you got to do is wake up. Well, at some point now, I had to learn how to become my own coach. And so the first thing I did was I put a calendar. This is because of Jesse Etzer. I made a calendar and I wrote down everything. I wrote down my entire schedule for the week. And you're not allowed to break that unless an emergency happens or you planned it 4 or 5 days ahead. So you have to learn how to regiment yourself. And a lot of people have that issue. Y'all know, man, you all know what I'm talking about. People that just they can't show up to work. They just can't regiment themselves. Yeah. And that was the issue was, I'm like, all right, well, if we do this, I go, I promise you, we'll do it from this time to this time every day. And I set up my calendar and boom. And I started feeling whole. And I was playing video games, and there was 10 people in there and, and stuff like that. And and all of a sudden I got this raid. There was only like 2 or 3 people in there because I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I got this raid from Brock and Nessa, fam time. And they brought over their community. It was like 100 people. I was like, holy shit. I was on the 3rd day and nobody was in my stream. I go, fuck this. I'm done. I go, I'm done. There's nobody in here. I'm done. I go, I quit. Yeah. And I got raided. I was like, what the hell is this? And all of a sudden these people come in, Chance Pulver, what's going on? And I see all these emojis and stuff. I was like, holy shit. I go, what's up, man? How's everybody doing? And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing in the world. And because of that, I never stopped. Yeah. I got that one moment. I was like, but it goes back to what I want people to understand how valuable they truly are. Time. Money can't buy it. Sure. And at the end of the day, we always wish we had more of it. Yeah. I mean, so the fact that they were willing to come in there and give me their time, it's the greatest gift on the planet. And that was the thing that I missed the most. When I was fighting, it was easy. People would stand in line just to meet you. They couldn't wait to meet you just to get your signature. I was
standing in line too.
Yeah, just to take a picture. You know what I mean? Well, that's because you did something wrong. But you know what I mean? Just to take a picture, just to, it's the most incredible gift on the planet that they're willing to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to meet you. And there are some people out there that shit all over that. They don't appreciate that. Yeah. And when they came in there, I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. So I just kept my grind. I just kept going. And one day, I remember I wasn't going to game. Sean had to go somewhere and he's like, man, I gotta go. I'm like, oh, hell no. What am I going to do? Well, you're going to just keep going. I go, no way. I go, I can't do this. I go, I'm by myself. I go, no way. I'm scared. So he was my training wheels. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, I had him with me playing video games. I'm still scared to game by myself. I'm like, oh, hell no. But then I go, all right, somebody give me a parkour video or something. Somebody give me a video. Yeah. What? So that someone gave me this parkour fails. And it was literally, this is no bullshit. It was probably a 2-minute video. By the time I got done rewinding, saying shit, just having fun, it was literally 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And then someone says, hey, would you watch my fight? I'm like, what? Well, I just did some sparring sessions. Would you watch my fight? I'm like, yeah. I would. Like, and they said it. They go, when do you have a UFC world champion breaking down your fights? Like, this doesn't happen every day. I was like, all right, well, shit, bring it over. Yeah. So they sent it over and I started watching it, rewinding it, breaking it down, talking about movements and, a lot of do what I say, not as I do kind of things, having this conversation. And then all of a sudden then someone's like, hey, check out this Street Beefs. I'm like, all right, what the fuck is Street Beefs? All right. So then I started watching Street Beefs and I'm like, oh my God, look at these guys. And then these people would pop in. And then one day the UFC's like, hey, we're starting this Twitch stream. Do you want to audition? It's like, yeah, of course, I'll audition. Let's go. And one of their biggest questions was, they asked Sean, I go, how many fights does he watch in an hour? Like, does he just burn through them or, you know what I mean? How's this going to go? And Sean goes, just watch. He said, just watch. So I got my hands on the UFC Fight Pass, which means I could watch all their fights, and normally I could never watch it because they're a paid subscription, right? Yeah. So you can't show it. And, but because I worked for the UFC on that day, I got to show it. And I told the story. I told the story about us. I told the story about growing up. I told the story about Boise. I talked about the Boss Shooting Invitational. You remember those?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's where I was boxing before I got into UFC was those Boss Shooting Invitationals.
I remember those.
I talked about the Boss Shooting Invitationals, how John Peretti was the matchmaker. Yeah. And he was the UFC matchmaker and the referee for that. I remember Ryan. By the way, Narte went with me all the way down to Shamrock 2000. So we'll get into that. But point is, and I got to tell the whole story. Then I told the story about how I created the 155-pound division, how they didn't even have one, how I was fighting at 170 in that Boston Invitational, and they said, hey, we want to start this lightweight division. He's like, you're the guy. We want you to come do this. I'm like, shit, I want to come do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into the UFC 22 against Alfonso Alcaraz. We agreed to weigh 155. They still kept us under the 170-pound weight class.
Didn't he come in at a heavier weight, Alfonso, that
maybe
day?
158 or something, probably 158. So we were supposed to be fairly close.
Yeah.
When it was. And so then one fight, then another fight. And then I told the story about how I moved out to Iowa and showed up with just 2 duffel bags, took a train for 2.5 days, showed up with 2 duffel bags, said, I'm ready to be a world champion.
Did you you talk about the fight in Garcia's?
I did talk. Well, I did. I talked about us all in the beginning. You know what I mean? I forgot your name. I thought it was Jimbo Garcia, but
what?
It's my fault. I forgot
Jimbo.
I forgot it was Cristobal.
I kind of like that. Jimbo Garcia.
Jimbo.
One man.
Jimbo.
One desire.
Because we got brown ecstasy, so don't even start.
Damn.
Oh,
baby.
Yeah. See, I didn't forget. And so basically, I got to tell the whole story. I got to talk about the injury going into the John Lewis fight. I got to talk about doing the John Lewis fight. And if I wouldn't have, Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, and them were buying the UFC. They were there when they were cornering John Lewis that day. And had I not taken that fight, they ended up buying the UFC. They go, we need that little dude that knocked out our coach. And they're like, next, I'm on a plane going to Japan, and I'm watching Uno fight Sato for the 150. They had, I think the Shudo, they had about 155 pounder. I think it was about 155 pounds, and he was the world champion. And that's why I tell you, I'm the godfather of the 155, the lightweight division in the UFC. I created this for the UFC. And they said, that's who you're going to fight. And next, like I said, we're in Atlantic City, and I became the world champion. So my point is, so by the time I got
just
to this story,
I won $100 on that fight.
I like that. Good. We're 7 hours. I'm 6.5 hours in on the stream, and they're like, "Yeah, I can pause and talk a lot." So yeah, it's I love it. Basically, remember when I was talking about you go out there and you fill your book. And then when it's all said and done, you're left with stories, and that's what you'll do is you talk and pass on, based on the life that you lived, based on the things that you've done. Well, now I'm in that transitioning period. That's what I'm doing. I spend every day on this stream breaking down. I get to have an opinion. And what I don't think I tell people all the time is this stream saved my life because you all come in and you give me your time. And it's unbelievable that people will just come in. Like, I don't think people truly understand how much people miss that. You think about it, man. People that get that little bit of fame for a second, they go do dumb shit just to try to get it back. Yeah, they'll do anything to get that kind of attention. You know what I mean? Like, people need to understand how important their time is. And I hope that nobody ever, and if anybody out there ever is trying to make you feel like your time ain't valuable, one, you can come listen to this, because I can tell you just how valuable it is for me. It's life-saving. And two, part of my language, well, fuck them. You don't need them. Yeah. They don't need to be around, because your time is valuable, and it's more important than anything in the world. And it resurrected me and saved me. And like I said, because of all that, life has spun around that here I am about to put the cap, and my heroic journey is about to come to an end, and I get to go into the Hall of Fame.
Hell yeah. Congratulations, big dog.
Congratulations, brother.
Freaking, man, no one deserves it more than you, knowing you personally and watching you from the jump, bro. I know you weren't feeling good today, and you still freaking came through for us, man, and you did the show with us, man. I'm truly grateful, bro. Let's wrap this up by you giving the people to your handle for your Twitch and all your streams and all that stuff, so they can latch on and be part of that group, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Monday, because we didn't have fights on Saturday, so normally I'll give you a rundown of the week. So Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, we usually recap the fights we watched on Saturday. Based on that, we'll watch a fight night. We'll have an interview with 1 or 2 fighters. And then we'll watch fights based on that. People can use their points. And then Wednesday, actually this week coming up, Wednesday, because it is a pay-per-view, we'll be watching undercard fights of fighters fighting and Saturday's pay-per-view fights. Man, I almost forgot the greatest day of all. Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll be starting season 11 of The Ultimate Fighter. So Tough Tuesday. Yeah. So we have Tough Tuesday. We're watching every single season. So we're working our way up. We're on 11 now. So Monday, recaps. fights. Tuesday, Tough Tuesday, watch The Ultimate Fighter. Wednesday, we'll be watching the undercard fights of fighters fighting. Friday, we watch main card fights of fighters fighting, and Saturday's pay-per-view fights. Saturday, I'll be doing a watch along. I don't know who my guests are yet, but we've had an incredible list of guests that have come in and watch the fights with me and stuff like that. So I'm not sure who the guests will be this time. So we'll do that on Saturday. So basically 6 p.m. Eastern, Twitch TV/UFC. We are the official UFC Twitch stream. Yeah. And we'll be on all week, 6 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you drop in, hit the follow button, get that, you know what I mean? And then the only way people can get a hold of me better than any other way, at Jens Pulver on Instagram. The one I hated the most back in the day, I deleted it, but now I started it over. And I'm like, I love Instagram above everything else. Right. So I'm having fun. I'm slow rolling. I'm building it up. You know what I mean? I think I'm like at 26,000. So I'm having fun with it. But that is the best way to get hold of me, at Jens Pulver on Instagram. Done deal. Otherwise, I'll see you on Twitch.
Hell yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 12 Rounds podcast with the one and only UFC Hall of Famer, Jens Pulver.
Yeah.
Woo!
Whole world in the palm of my hand.